So we are just hours away from our Baltimore Ravens playing the Houston Texans on Christmas Day. I'm so excited for this big-time matchup, man. We just happen to have the Texans claiming wide receiver Diontae Johnson after he was released by the Ravens, and they just swapped receivers because the Texans dropped Steven Sims, a wide receiver, and the Ravens picked him up. So Ravens and Texans swap receivers. Plus, we got some injury updates and a massive, massive advantage for the Baltimore Ravens defense, specifically against this Houston Texans very banged-up offensive line. Plus, more MVP conversations and more. So welcome into another episode of Ravens Reports. It's your guy Noah here with For the Flock, as always, bringing you guys our top 5 news reports and storylines coming out of our Ravens today. Just want to wish you guys a very Merry Christmas and just tell you, man, I am so grateful for Jesus and who he is in my life, how there was a point in my life where I was on a downward spiral. Marriage was not good. Health, everything was not good, but Jesus completely snatched me out of that darkness. And I'm so grateful for the gift he is to humanity, restoring us back to the Father, taking away all the sin for all those who put their faith and trust in the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, man. Merry Christmas. Don't forget the reason for the season. I hope you guys have a Christmas full of joy, peace. Hopefully we also get to enjoy a nice Ravens victory on this awesome Christmas day, man. So at number 1, let's talk about this major advantage the Baltimore Ravens are going to have versus these Houston Texans. It's looking like their starting left guard and right guard for Houston is not going to be strapping up on this Christmas Day matchup. Juice Scruggs and Shaq Mason both still not practicing. Texans reporter puts it out here that they're heading towards not playing in this matchup, man. Another big update of the Ravens defense is their interior guys. You know, their interior defensive tackles are absolute units. I mean, studs. Michael Pierce, Travis Jones, and Justin Madubuike are forces to be reckoned with on the inside, and they can really get after the quarterback in those pass rush situations and absolutely shut down the interior run game of the Houston Texans. Plus, you know, they have a rookie right tackle, Blake Fisher, second-round draft pick for the Houston Texans, and Dafe Owe, Kyle Van Noy, both getting after the quarterback, going to be testing their offensive line in those true drop-back passing situations. So I think it's a major advantage for the Baltimore Ravens. C.J. Stroud is actually one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league this year. He's taken a lot of quarterback hits. The offensive line, especially on the interior, has not been great at protecting C.J., and I think the Ravens are going to bring that pressure, bring that heat, and make it very difficult for him to consistently have time to go through those reads and, you know, dish out the ball to the very, very talented receiver there in Nico Collins. We also know that at number 2, some other injury updates, that the Texans recently lost their other starting wide receiver in Tank Dell. And we played that clip of how C.J. Stroud talked about that, how devastated he was. However, the Texans ended up claiming Diontae Johnson to help out with that injury. So we know that the Ravens, they just released Diontae Johnson. I don't think they wanted to. They specifically did not want him to go help out another AFC playoff contender. We talked about that, how that would most likely happen, and that's exactly what happened. There's a good chance the Ravens could play the Texans in the first round of the NFL playoffs and have to go against Diontae Johnson, who's a very talented receiver, but did not have all of the, we'll just say, off-the-field type of stuff going in his favor for him to earn some playing time. You know, it just did not work out for Diontae and the Ravens. There has been problems with Diontae Johnson with several of the teams he's been on, and that continued with the Baltimore Ravens. We'll see if it pans out for the Houston Texans, but the Texans got themselves a gift. You know, the Texans find themselves with a very talented receiver heading into the postseason that's now on their roster. And the Ravens swapped receivers. The Texans ended up releasing Steven Sims, who actually had a touchdown versus the Baltimore Ravens in the divisional round of the playoffs this last season. And you guys can remember, in the playoffs, he took a punt return to the house, and that's what he's known for. He's known for that punt returner, kick returner role, and I think the Ravens are looking to shore up that spot on their roster. Desmond King was the guy the last few weeks, but he just had a fumble. Unfortunately, the Ravens were able to recover that fumble, but Steven Sims probably going to be in on that action immediately. handling some of those duties. There's a lot of talk about trading information on playbooks, right? And, that could be very well the reason why the Ravens picked up the Texans receiver. I think they also wanted help at kick returner, punt returner, but obviously there's the threat of Deontay Johnson sharing the Ravens playbook information, right? I was telling the guys in the Patreon, in our Discord that we have, I think that's very common in the NFL, where teams pick up, waive players from the rivals in order to get information and stuff. But at this point in the season, like week 17, most of the playbook is already out there on tape, on film. I mean, these teams have been running hundreds and hundreds of plays, and it's all out there for everyone to study, to break down, to diagnose, to dissect, right? And teams can always change up terminologies and actually use information to their advantage if they run other plays off of those plays and stuff like that. So definitely not something I'm too stressed about, but it is a factor in the scenario with the Texans and Ravens swapping receivers at this point in the season. At number 3, I just want to highlight one big matchup, man, that's going to have to be priority for the Baltimore Ravens, because we talked about how the Ravens are going to probably get after C.J. Stroud with that banged-up offensive line that already wasn't playing great even before the injuries. Well, the Ravens have the same problem. I mean, they're going to have to protect against really, really good pass rushers, D'Amico Autry, Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, and their interior guys as well, Tim Settle. Man, they can all really get after the quarterback. I mean, this Texans front is one of the best in the league, and they get after it. Specifically, I want to highlight this matchup with Danielle Hunter, who usually lines up over the right tackle. So he's going to be going up against the rookie Roger Rosengarten, who's really improved week after week, strength-wise, technique-wise, man. Rosengarten has been a really good starting right tackle for the Ravens this year after improving week in and week out. But he's also going against one of the best in the business right now in Danielle Hunter, who is a sack machine. So I'd like to think that Ronnie Stanley should be able to hold his own for the most part against Will Anderson. But I'd like to see some attention, some chipping happen over there on the right side with the rookie and Rosengarten going against a very seasoned, polished pass rusher there with Danielle Hunter. At number 4, ahead of this matchup, I want you guys to hear what D'Amico Ryans, Texans head coach, had to say about Lamar Jackson and where his MVP vote would go.
Good football. I think Lamar is playing some of the best football he's played. Like, he's definitely jumps off the tape as the best player I've seen this year. You talk about MVP, he's definitely the MVP in my mind, just for what he's doing, not only run game wise, but throwing the football, the accuracy, the decision making. Like, he's playing unbelievable ball right now. So it's going to be a really tough challenge for us this week.
More and more data, statistics, mind-boggling NFL records and all kinds of stuff keep getting dropped, by the hour, it feels like, on Lamar Jackson, what he's accomplishing this season. We know that he's at 37 passing touchdowns to only 4 interceptions. He's already hit his career high in passing yards. He's like over 700 rushing yards. He's about to break the most rushing yards all time by a quarterback. He's already second on the list. Could very well win a third MVP. He's on the cusp of beating the all-time passer rating in a single season record as well. Only a few quarterbacks have ever finished over 120, and that's where he's at right now. But here's another one, man. Lamar Jackson, look at this graphic. This is quarterback EPA per play and raw PFF grade. Nobody's even close to Lamar. Like, he's on his own world up here, own planet, up on this upper right. The highest raw PFF grade and the most expected points added per play. What Lamar Jackson's doing is absolutely special. I want you guys to listen to what LaShawn Shady McCoy had to say on the facility. This show gets entertaining at times. They go back and forth with their takes, but I like what he had to say about how Lamar Jackson can go out here and take this MVP and become the MV3 on Christmas Day. Here's what he had to say.
Ad nauseum, the Lamar Jackson conversations, but Shady, I'll ask you, will Lamar be the MVP frontrunner after Christmas?
I hate this question, man.
It's such a difficult
I got a
question.
relationship with Josh Allen.
And he balling.
And Saquon about to break this record, like all my boys. But I'm going to say yes. I think he's going to be MVP after this game. because the last time we see him in prime time, when everybody's watching, in prime time games, I always text all my homeboys. I say, this is my football version of shit, right? Not TV. I say, hey, every hood in America's watching.
Yeah.
What you gonna do tonight?
Man.
Ooh, look at chills right now. Think about it.
Come on,
Every hood, every kid is gonna watch you tonight. What are you gonna do? And the last time we see Lamar Jackson in prime time last year against the Niners, against Ancho's Niners, what did he do?
Got active.
Bang, bang.
He became the MVP that night. Because it wasn't the stats.
No.
It wasn't his stats that blow you away. It was that game. Going against the best team, and he showed up.
No question.
So, yes, I think he wins it. I think the way he's been playing, he should have had 4 touchdowns last game, but the refs and the time of the game worked out in the other
Thanks
team's
for the
favor.
money, dog.
But I will say this, I think he balls out. I think he has a lot of touchdowns, a lot of passing yards, a lot of rushing yards. And he puts the team on his back like he's been doing. And I'm scared to say it, but I think he will be. Even though I want Josh Allen to get it so bad, I played with Josh. I raised Josh Allen.
Franchise.
But it's going to be Lamar.
And check this out, man. On top of what the statistical production of the yards and the touchdowns and the passer rating and all that, Lamar Jackson's also the best quarterback in the NFL when it comes to turnover-worthy play rate. So Lamar Jackson at 1.5%, keeping the ball out of harm's way while also putting it into pay dirt. Throw in and throw out, man. Lowest turnover-worthy play rate among all quarterbacks in the NFL at 1.5%. Absolutely absurd. At number 5, some other updates. Looking like Justice Hill will not play. Nelson Aguilar also not likely to play in this matchup on Christmas. All right, guys, I'm just excited for Ravens Texans on Christmas. I feel like a little kid, right? Like, we're gonna have the kids open up their gifts in the morning. We're gonna go over to my parents' house a little bit later, have some good food, just celebrate Christmas, man. Looking forward to this time, and I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic Christmas. I love you guys. I appreciate you all. We'll be sure to be back soon with this Ravens and Texans reaction after that Christmas game in. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ray, when he wasn't looking, he ran me over.